Can you see this? Okay, good morning. Before we start, I just want to say two things. One is I just want to introduce my colleague Donna Lisa, who will be helping me. She is a computer scientist, so she knows all about programming. So any problem you have, she will help you to overcome that. Second, since this is an economics group, just want to take a moment to remember my dear friend, Dr. M. Kunjaman, who is professor of economics at Kerala University and also at TISS, who sadly left us yesterday. So he's a great friend, one of the great friendships I have. I was lucky to have because I studied economics. If I had stayed in medicine, I would not have met him. So what I intend to do is I'll give you a presentation now. It's very short and very brief about what is R, just introducing R to you. I'm sure many of you would be familiar with many aspects of R, but just to go over in a systematic manner. Then we have some sessions which are very basic for this today because it's the starting day. I don't know how far we'll be able to cover. Of course, many of you have your computers, and I hope you have downloaded the packages which I had suggested. Using them, I will demonstrate to you how to do very simple things, and later probably you'll learn more things. My own story started 20 years ago when I wanted I wanted to avoid using pirated software. Most people get by using pirated SPSS, but I was not happy with that. So somebody suggested to me, why don't you try R? And I said, what is R? And then he told me all about R. And then I Googled it and slowly taught myself. It is very difficult. It's like going up a hill. You come down very often. You climb up again. But then you get a feeling when you get on top of that you have done something, because it's a tough thing to crack. Anyway, let us move with the presentation. So this is R. R is a computer language. It is a statistical computing language because it is specially tailored for statistics. It is what is called a vectorized language. What that is, I will tell you, because you can directly, any operation you do is done on vectors. It is done on a group of numbers or group of entries. It's also an environment for manipulating data and graphics, creating graphics, which is a very special thing in R, because R creates some of the most beautiful scientific graphs you can imagine, because you can do a lot of things, and it is the only limiting factor is your own imagination. So it is customizable graphs. It is open source, which means you will always have it free. That is a promise. They will not start charging you. And this animal you see is the African, I don't know what it is. It's like a huge bull or whatever. It's called a gnu or nu. And GNU is the name of the license. That is supposed to be an open general license. If you ask computer people what is GNU, they will tell you GNU is not Unix. GNU is not Unix. So it's a recursive acronym. I mean, they are very funny people. They do all sorts of things. So it doesn't mean anything, but it is a special thing that is free. It is based on Unix. That is what it means, but it is not Unix. Right? That's something like that. It is not Unix, based on Unix, but it's not Unix. That's why the GNU is not Unix. So it is under the GNU license that R has been built. So you can use it anytime, and it goes on renewing itself every 6 months or so. You can keep on downloading and installing, but it's not necessary. You can do it once in a couple of years. That I think will be okay. But if you want to be at the cutting edge, you can download every version. So why R? What are the reasons why I would say that everybody should learn, at least people in higher education like master's courses in social sciences, biological sciences, even physical sciences, I would say, should be familiar with R. One, of course, most important reason it is practically free. So why do I say practically free? Because there is a cost. The cost is, and this I learned because I learned some economics. So I can say that it is not free because your time, you have to spend it. There is an opportunity cost. You have to spend time to learn this. So that's, it's not free. But it's free, you don't have to pay money. In that sense, it is free. It's also free in that whatever you create can be shared. You don't have to um, ask anyone. So that is why it is free. It is very powerful. It can manipulate very large data sets. It can even do AI related things. So what is known as huge data and all that. So the basic principles, if you know, you can go on from there to do various things. It is scalable. Scalable means from the lowest level application to the highest level application. You can use it as a calculator. It's very convenient. If you have the computer open before you, you can just type in what you want in whatever arithmetical operation you want, and it will give you the answer. So it's very easy. And it's available on all three platforms. Most common platforms are the Windows, the Mac OS, which I am using, and the Linux. So all three have our soft capabilities. It is flexible. You can write your own program, share it with friends. You can save your script, use it later for another data set. That is a great charm of R. So you don't lose that. You just change the variable names. You can use it again. It's like a recipe. You make your recipe, share it with friends. You borrow other people's recipe. Anybody who has attempted to cook and failed, like I have, will know how useful a recipe is. People go to YouTube and see how something is made, how is biryani made or whatever, and they try and they succeed after some time. Similarly with R, there are any number of YouTube videos. How to do regression, you can go to the YouTube, you can see somebody explaining. You will try it, you may fail, but you, after a couple of attempts, you get it. So that's all. It's not very difficult. And there's a large and growing community of users who share the experience. So you can have chat sessions, or you can join groups who will share their experience. You can share what happened to your data and what happened to their data, etc. There are some reasons why people are shy of R. One is, of course, the learning curve. It is tough in the beginning. Unless you are determined that I will crack this, you may be easily scared and shy off. I have seen that happen with many students. After a couple of sessions, they ask me, why do you make us torture ourselves like this? You have experiences here, very easy, menu driven. So I say, if you don't want to learn it, don't learn it. That is fine. But it is a good skill to have. It is not a menu driven thing. You can't point and click. You have to write the program. But the beauty of writing a program is that once, as I said, once you get it right, you can save it and use it again and again. And the most important as a teacher to me is that it asks you to have a thorough understanding of your data. What is the structure? Just like Dr. Joy was saying, whether it's a nominal variable or it's a numeric variable or it's what kind of variable is it. Unless you know that, you can't get very far in R. That is very important. So you have to learn, you have to know your data. And that makes you learn your data. So that is the most important thing as a teacher. Now, why it is a good thing in a learning environment. So this is a comparison of the most commonly used software for statistical analysis. On the first, you have the yellow things there are the costly ones. They are the chargeable or commercial software which you can purchase. SAS is the most expensive, and it's also very powerful, very common, very popular in the US. And there are some applications where they will accept only SAS code. For instance, when you do introduce a new drug in the market, the US FDA, what is that? Food and Drug Administration, they have to certify that this drug can be used safely in humans. And they insist that they want to see the SAS code for your analysis. They don't accept R, they don't accept anything else, they want to see SAS code. I don't know if it's some arrangement or anything, but anyway, SAS. So the SAS has some value. Because of that reason, SAS courses are very popular. They used to be offered in Amrita in the same city. It's very expensive, but only for people who are doing clinical trials. So that is SAS. SAS is again difficult to learn, just like R and other um, you know programming languages. It is also a language, and usually it is business community that uses it, and it has high adaptability. R, on the other hand, is cheap, cost is very low, and it is usually used by academics, especially in biology. There is a large number of people who use R, especially because of its capabilities in genetic analysis. There is something called R conductor, which is a special package, and that lets you do genomic analysis very easily. So R is good to learn if you are a biologist. Research people especially use R. Nowadays, artificial intelligence people also use R. So these are some of the advantages and disadvantages. You can see all those things. And one rival for R is Python, which is becoming very popular. The difference is that R comes from a community of statisticians because they have tailored it in the sense if you know statistics, R becomes easy. Whereas Python comes from a community of programmers. Usually engineers use Python. I'm sure Donna will be more familiar with Python. Python is very similar. I mean, it's not very difficult, even simpler to learn, um, but it's not statistically orientated. It is a little different. You have to adapt it for statistics. It can be done. Python, one good thing about Python is that Python is a general purpose program. You can do a lot of things. You can build a website, you can do this, that with Python. So knowing Python is also important. If you are going to be in the business or data analytics, Python also is a good asset to learn, especially in AI. AI, machine learning and all, Python is now the number one language, no doubt about it. Okay. And some of the other advantages is that it can hold multiple data sets. It's limited only by the memory of your computer. So you can switch from one data to other in the same session. You don't have to, come down and then upload the other data like that. You can switch from one to the other. And you can develop your own functions, which you can later use. And you have customized graphics. Very beautiful graphs can be created. And there are about 4 programs within R, 4 different programs, which will all give you good graphs. One is the base R, which I will teach you. Using base R, which is already there in your, whenever you download R, you have base R. You can use that for creating graphs. Secondly, there is an environment called Tidyverse and ggplot. ggplot is a very beautiful graphics program, one of the best, but it depends on what is known as the grammar of graphics. That is why it is called GG. So GG is grammar of graphics. The grammar of graphics is a special approach to graphics, which is developed by some scientists, and it follows that pattern. So you need the data in a particular structure. You should know how to convert your data into that structure before you can use ggplot. So that is why I'm not attempting at this point. I'm sure you will have opportunities to expose yourself to ggplot later, or I can always come back. Then there is something called lattice. Again, this is part of the program. You can easily invoke lattice graphs. Lattice is a trellis graphics program because it breaks up the data set into several groups and does the same graph in all groups. That's very convenient. So it has been created by a Indian guy called Dipayan Sarkar. That is why I especially like it. It's a very minimalist graph. There are no, മലയാളത്തിൽ പറഞ്ഞ പൊടിപ്പൊന്തൊങ്ങലൊന്നും ഇല്ലാത്ത graphics on lattice. Very minimalist approach to graphics. And then there are something called grid graphics. So all these different approaches to graphics you can use using R. These are some graphs using ggplot that I have done. You can put the p-value there. You can do various things. We will come to that. So these are just examples I am showing you. So these are like 3 different groups, and each is different. That is why we have 3 panels and 3 similar graphs. And internet resources, of course, one is the CRAN, which probably you already know, the Comprehensive R Archive Network. R has an international committee which decides which program should be in CRAN, which should not be in CRAN, etc. So these are high-powered people. So that is, you can go to the site and look at it. And you can download the program from that site. Then there is something called QuickR, and some of these are old ones which I used when I started learning. I don't know if they are current at all, Datacamp is a very good resource, but only thing is they don't have many free courses. There are some courses which are free, but most advanced courses are paid. So you can have a subscription. And it is not very cheap, especially from a student point of view. But if you are in this business of data analytics, it is good to have a Datacamp subscription. Or Seek, or bloggers, Facebook pages, all these are several websites are there for our tutorials. So this is what the cran looks like, and this is R. This is old R. Nowadays, this emblem is different. The three-dimensional effect has been taken away. Now it's a flat R. So this 3.5 version, old one. Now I think it's 4.2, 3, 4.3. Yeah, okay. And there are these funny names. Joy in playing. I don't know what is now. Current one is some silly name which I can't even remember. This is again one of the cranky things about programmers, especially in open source software. They give these funny names to their products, like ice cream sandwich, and all those things. The Android phones have that kind of names, so like that. So then, what is RStudio? RStudio is something which we use to integrate R. You use RStudio to run R. You don't need RStudio, strictly speaking. If you are a high-level programmer, perhaps you will prefer to put everything in R and then run it. You can do that, but RStudio allows you to save your plots. It will complete your script for you. All those things are very convenient. So that is why we use RStudio. RStudio is also freely downloadable. So it's a free, convenient program, and it runs other software also. Like there's something called R Markdown, which lets you convert your R output into a report. Nice report with text and graphs, and you can incorporate the script also. And there is something called Quarto, which is also similar like that. You can create presentation slides and books and articles using Quarto. So that is part of RStudio. So this is RStudio, and this is what it looks like. We'll get into it very soon when we open the program. There are 4 panels or 4 sub-windows, and each one has a special function, which I will explain. Some books, and again, these books are, I will leave the PowerPoint with Professor Varghese so that you can copy this. These are introductory books. I don't know, some of them might even be out of print now. One important book is Crowley's book, R book. The R book is the R book, means it is a final thing on R. It is very technical, and also it teaches you statistics. So it is not only R, but a lot of statistics also. Actually, probably you can get an old version free. It will not be very different, because the current version might be very expensive for individuals to buy it, like 7,000 rupees last time. But libraries can buy. It's a very good book. But online, you may be able to get the PDF cheaply. I don't know. Then Wickham and Grolman are for data science, advanced R. Of course, these are for people who want to further upgrade your skills. Otherwise, you don't need any of these things. So this is R for data science. And growth of R, recently, what are some of the things developed? One is Tidyverse. Tidyverse, before Tidyverse, when I started using R, Tidyverse was not there. So it was a little more difficult to do programming. The Tidyverse introduced what is known as the pipe. The pipe is a very convenient tool for taking one bit of code and then putting it into the next bit, like that. They first introduced what is known as the, I think it is called the, I forget, the old pipe. Now there is a new pipe called the native pipe, which is even shorter. So it's very useful. Instead of putting multiple parentheses, which sometimes gets confusing, and you don't know where you started, where you end, and it will give you error messages again and again. To stop that, you can use the pipe. Of course, all those things which will come later. Then, of course, ggplot is also part of Tidyverse. And nowadays you have AI packages like Carrot, which can do AI modeling and machine learning tasks. So that is also part of R. To just touch upon a brief history, It is based on S language. S language was developed in the 90s by somebody called John Chambers, and he got an award known as the uh, ACM Award, Association of Computing Machinery Award. The ACM Award is supposed, it's like a yearly award. It is considered the Oscar for programmers, the ultimate goal for any programmer. So Chambers got the Oscar in 1990 something, and his citation read that this will change forever the way data is handled, which is true actually. So R came from S, and it was developed by two New Zealand gentlemen called Ross Ihaka and Robert Gentleman. These are the two people. In fact, there is an allegation by other people that both their names start with R, and that is why they use the name R. I don't know. Anyway, R has a very strong New Zealand connection. The Harley Wickham, who developed ID, was also from New Zealand, so University of Auckland. So it's very strong computing environment. Recent developments, one is, this is something you should know. Actually, you don't need to know coding. I should not be telling this, but I'm telling you this. Nowadays, ChatGPT can give you the code. So you open your R Studio, ask ChatGPT, what is my code for doing regression? To give you an R code, put it in your window and run it. It's as easy as that. But it is good to learn the basics so that you know what you're doing. Then you can go to ChatGPT. Now you can also integrate this into your R, like something called GitHub Copilot. If you have a GitHub Copilot, the moment you start typing, the rest of the code will appear as a suggestion. So you can complete your code, it becomes easier. What you can do in 1 hour, you may be able to do in 5 minutes. So that is but it is for programmers because there is a subscription rate of $10 a month or something. So unless you're going in for heavy use of this, it is not advisable. There is also GPT Studio, which is not chargeable. ChatGPT can be incorporated in your R Studio by using certain techniques, which there is a YouTube video on that. You have to use what is known as an API or something. If you know about computing, you will know about this. I didn't know much about it. I haven't used it yet. I use a simple technique of asking ChatGPT what is the code and cutting and pasting, which is good enough for most purposes. But if you want to go in for this, you can integrate it into your R Studio. So these are some of the things about R. And last, I thought very, very hard about whether I should let you into this. But finally, I thought they will know about this from someone, so let it be from me. Have you heard of Jamovi? Anybody? Yeah, there's one person at least who's heard of Jamovi. Jamovi is something based on R, which is very much like SPSS. So you don't have to know the code. You can point and click. So that is fine if you want to use it. Is free also. That is the beauty of it. So you can teach yourself Jamovi. It's not very difficult. There are tutorials also. But I still advise you to at least have a basic understanding of R because it is the code behind the software, Jamovi. So Jamovi, we have some time, we try to demonstrate. Anyway, it works very much like R because it has additional packages and all. So this is my presentation. If you have any doubts, you can ask now. Otherwise, we will get on with the coding session or the anything you want to ask about, general about the software or its capabilities or what it can do, it cannot do. No. Let me just ask you, has anyone used it yet? Any person in this group? No, it's okay. I mean, no, okay. Have you heard about it? Yes. Have you used any software as a coding language like C++ or Java or something which you have learned in school? Nowadays, people are we are the old generation. I didn't know anything about programming when I started struggling with all this. But I think nowadays, children learn a lot of programming in school, right? It's a fundamental or basic knowledge, like knowing the alphabet. But you're not confident enough to say yes, fine, that is good. So shall we start on the real first thing? Yes or no? Okay, so this is what RStudio looks like. I suppose I don't have to tell you how to open RStudio. Should I say that? Okay, just you probably you will have it somewhere, something like this in your. I'll quit it and show you. So I have RStudio. I'm using a Mac, so I use the Launchpad, and then where is my RStudio? So what is known as Launchpad, and then this is icon of RStudio. R inside a circle, so you just click on that, and it opens up. Okay. So RStudio has, I would say, 4 panes. We can call them panes, like window panes. You can change the size of this by clicking and dragging the lines in the middle. You can create up, down, and all that. Okay. So the one on the left upper is where you type your script or you import your script. The one lower down, left lower, is your R console. This is your R. So if you open your R, it will look something like this. So nowadays, this 4.2.2 is what I have, and it is known as innocent and trusting. I don't know what it means, but it is what it is. So this is copyrighted to 2022. So probably there is a later version, right? Okay, no, it's okay. I mean, I can use this. On the right upper side, you have the what is known as the environment, global environment. That is where your data is situated, and you can check what all data you have. As I told you, R can hold multiple data sets, so you can have multiple things in the right upper quadrant, which is known as the environment, and you can create R objects. Suppose you do a regression in R, it creates a regression object, and it doesn't give you all the results directly. All this we'll learn later. It will just create a regression object, and you can see what it contains by special commands. So you have to ask the program to put out what are the coefficients, what are the predictions. All those comes from the regression object. So that all those will be saved in this place. So now it says that 192 observations of 19 variables, which is something that I used previously. So if I click on this thing like a broom, I can just clear the space. It's like sweeping away everything. This broom is, of course, the stipend, not our chula, but something you can use standing up, right? So this is what it is. So you have also something called history, where all your commands will be saved as a history command. All right commands and wrong commands will be in the history. So if you want to go back to something and look where you went wrong, you can check the history. Then there are other things. I won't go into that. Then in the right lower quadrant, you have a thing called files, where you have all the files you can access through this. And plots, if you create plots, it will come here. And from the plots, you can save and copy paste into your Word document or whatever. Then packages, if you want to, if you click on packages, or the list of packages will come down, and you can click on them so that it gets usable, because R doesn't use all the packages all the time. So that is how it saves memory. It uses only what it wants. So you want to do a special thing, you need to invoke that package. Otherwise, it won't be available. It will say messages like it is not found, or you cannot do it, or something like that. And please, this is not a commercial software, so it will appear to talk to you in an abrupt manner, like error. I mean, don't be scared. only means that you have done something wrong. Don't be scared of error messages. And another thing, the warning is there is a command called remove RM. If you remove something, in many commercial software, it will ask you, are you sure you want to remove it? No, R will not say that. Remove. It's no longer there. So that is something which you have to remember. So all those are there. So then there is a help window where you can type what you want to know about, and then immediately, if you are connected to the net, nowadays it is always advisable to, when you are using, to be connected to the net so that you can immediately access your help and other things. Okay. So if you type the help, you can, this is the help on histograms which I have done. So it will say description, how to do it, an example, all those. Now you may not understand, even I don't understand all those things that they say, because it's a special computer program or language that they use. Sometimes it's difficult to understand. Maybe Donna will understand, I don't know. But gradually you get the hang of it. Just like you listen to Tamil for a long time, you know what they are saying, right? So after some time, you know what, like if you watch Tamil movies, you may not know Tamil, but you get the hang of it. Like that, you get it. Then there is, I don't know what is presentation or I don't even want to click there. Anyway, these are the general things that you have in RStudio. So what you first do, I advise is, let us import, or let us put our one of our files into the space. You click on file and then say open file. It's already there. So I have a problem. I don't know whether I have it in my computer or I have to go to the, okay, I have this. And the first things I am looking at is what is known as this file called descriptives R. Okay. Zoom. I'll do another thing. I will show you. In RStudio, what you do is go to tools, and there are global options. So when you open global options, there is something like, there is a way you can increase the font size. I'm trying to. Huh? Appearance, okay. Where is appearance? Appearance, okay. Click on appearance and then you have this thing, you can font size, edited font size, isn't it? You can increase the font size. Let me try, what is this? 18. And then you apply. Is that okay or you want bigger? Maybe we'll try the next size. It becomes very big, it becomes crowded. That is the problem. Okay, let us go with this. Is that visible to the back? Or should I make it even bigger? It's okay. So you forget this one. You don't need this. This is something which I have done, so don't worry about it. So we'll import our file, open file, and you have to go to a particular folder that I have saved everything in, economics workshop, and I am using this file called descriptives. And all are scripts. These are script files. So it will have an extension .r. So when you see the extension .r, it means it's an R file. So it will run only in R or in RStudio. So you can't open it with Word or any of the other things. Okay. So then you have another window here, another tab. It shows you the file. So in this, I have already typed out. I'll just, for the time being, I'll make it bigger. You can do that if you want, or you can leave it like that. So this is an introduction, and the first session is on descriptive statistics. And whenever I type, if I put a hash on that line, I'm starting everything with a hash, which means it is a text, it is not a program, it is not code. So the machine will not try to run that. If you don't put the hash, it will think it is code, and it will try to run it and you will get an error message. Okay? So this session deals, each line has to have the hash. This session deals with creating descriptive summary statistics. That is something which... Huh? Okay, no problem. When? Shall we take a tea break? Okay, this is tea break time, so after that I will start. So this is tea break. Have a come back energized and we will start. ഇത് കാണാമോ? ആ ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ട്. ആ
അല്ലാതെ സാർ എവിടുന്ന് എടുക്കുക എന്നുള്ളത് മിസ്സായി ഇത് ഡൗൺലോഡ് ഡിസ്ക്രിപ്റ്റീവ് ഫയൽ സാർ എവിടുന്ന് അങ്ങോട്ട് പോയെന്നുള്ളത് ഞങ്ങൾ ചെയ്തു വന്നപ്പോൾ മിസ്സായി.
ഒരു കാര്യം ചെയ്യാം, നമുക്ക് ഒന്നുകൂടെ തുടങ്ങാം. ചായ ഇറക്കാമോ? അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വിളിച്ച് കൊടുത്തില്ലെങ്കിലുണ്ടല്ലോ. ഷിജിയും കൂടെ ഒന്ന്, അല്ല സാറ് ഇങ്ങോട്ട് കൊടുത്താൽ മതി. സാറിന് ചായ ഇങ്ങോട്ട് വെക്കാം. അത് നോക്കാം, ഇങ്ങോട്ട് തരാം ചായ. ഇവിടെ ഇരുന്നു സാർ, ഇവിടെ ഇരുന്നു സാറേ. ഇവിടെ ഇരുന്നു സാറേ, ഇവിടെ ഇരുന്നു. നമുക്ക് വെക്കുകയും ചെയ്യാമല്ലോ. നമുക്ക് നോക്കാം. അമ്മാവനും കൊടുത്തായിരുന്നു.
display delete